Hey, Molly. So what's going on with Steve's funeral?
Oh, hey, Dad. Perfect timing. I've been meaning to talk to you.
If you've got something planned, then hurry up and tell me when it's gonna be. Unlike some people I know, I have a life.
Yeah, I was just about to send you the details. The visitation is going to be this Friday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., and the funeral will start at 1 p.m. the next day.
Got it.
Hey, Dad? I'm only saying this because I remember what happened at Mom's funeral, but please, Dad, can you please not make any inappropriate comments about your business relationships at Steve's funeral? Like, about primary contractors and subcontractors and all?
What are you saying?
Well, your company doesn't have any direct connections with my husband's company, but you do share some of the same clients, right? Basically, there are probably going to be some people at the funeral from companies that you've met before and do business with. So before you come, I'd just like you to keep in mind that anything inappropriate that you say or do at Steve's funeral will probably have a much bigger impact than what you did at Mom's funeral.
I don't get it. What's your problem?
I mean, you have this thing about business relationships. Like primary contractors are the most important and subcontractors are just underlings or something.
Yeah, and? Your point? People need to know their place in this world.
Yes, that's certainly true about some things, but you're choosing a very specific and very, outdated issue to focus on, is what I'm saying. Remember, my husband's parents lost their son when he was just 25 years old, and the funeral is supposed to be a place where they can say their proper goodbyes and find some sense of peace. Please, Dad, I'm begging you, don't go saying anything untoward to them during the funeral, okay? Dad? I was very explicit when I talked to you before. Would you mind explaining why you screamed, "Know your place, peasant," at the representative of one of your client companies and kicked him out of the church?
Huh? Oh, you mean that little upstart from Arthravale Manufacturing? That pathetic little factory outside of town? That place is a subcontractor of one of my subcontractors. We got a big deadline coming up. Who does he think he is showing up at a funeral when the only reason he even exists is to meet that deadline?
I don't believe this.
Oh yeah, and about your husband. Just because he went and kicked the bucket doesn't mean I'm gonna let you live off my money again. You got that?
What?
I don't want you to ruin our family's reputation by coming back to live with us because you can't make it on your own. If you need help, go and live with his peasant family.
Excuse me? What is going on with you, Dad? What do you mean, live off your money?
I'm just making sure you don't go and get your hopes up, that's all. I spoke in plain English, so I won't let you pretend that you don't know what I'm talking about.
No, Dad. I have literally zero clue what you're talking about.
Then how about this? I'm disowning you.
Huh?
Don't ever show your face around my house ever again, little girl. You're no daughter of mine.
Oh, so I don't have to go see you anymore?
Have to?
You're saying I don't need to come visit you on holidays like Christmas, Easter, birthdays, that sort of thing?
Well, yeah, you're not allowed to come visit me.
I really don't get what your angle is with this, but your terms are acceptable. Thanks for letting me know you're cutting ties with me, Dad. That saves me a lot of trouble.
Hold on.
Mom's sister took all of her things from your house after she died, and I don't have anything of value left over there, so anything that's still there can be thrown away. Really, you've just saved me the trouble of disposing of a lot of old junk. I was dreading having to do that by myself.
Molly?
Let me just say this, Dad. You've disowned me of your own volition. I'm not your daughter anymore. You're not my father anymore. So don't come crying to me for help when everything comes crashing down around you. Goodbye.
What the? Hey, Molly! What's going on? What's the meaning of this? You're remarried? When did this happen?
What do you mean? My husband is my first and only husband.
Wait, what? But that doesn't make sense. Steve's dead, right? Like dead, gone. But now I'm reading in this interview online that your husband is the next in line to be the CEO of Straver Industries?
Oh, yes, my husband is set to be the next CEO of Straver Industries. But what does that have to do with Steve? I really don't see what the relevance is here.
Huh? Your husband has only been dead for a week. You should be in mourning, but you're already remarried to some wealthy, powerful businessman?
What? My husband is as healthy as a horse, Dad. I don't think I've ever seen him catch a cold. I've been married to the CEO of Straver this whole time.
Are you drunk or something? I saw you at the funeral. You were clinging onto the casket, crying your eyes out.
Oh, that? That wasn't me, Dad. That was the woman who spent so much of his money that he divorced her, his ex-wife.
I'm very confused.
Well, it had only been about 3 months since they got divorced, so I thought she deserved to know about his passing and the date and location of the funeral. Looks like she never really was able to get over him. I felt pretty bad for her. She absolutely fell apart in front of everyone.
I'm still confused. This ex-wife, who is she?
You know who she is. She's our very own prodigal daughter. She suddenly up and left home one day, and we haven't heard from her in about 10 years before she randomly showed up a year ago. She's my twin sister, Mandy.
This is giving me a headache. Your sister?
As far as twins go, we definitely do look a lot alike, and given the circumstances, I'm not surprised you couldn't tell the difference between us. But seriously, not only could you not tell the difference between us, you forgot who we married? Like, for real, Dad?
Oh, yeah. In my defense, both of you brought your fiancés to the house at around the same time, so it's pretty understandable that I'd mix them up.
Oh no, don't tell me. Did you make the exact same mistake that she did?
What mistake?
You're clearly having a hard time with this, so I'll start from the beginning. I've been dating the same guy ever since we were both in high school, remember? And that guy is Steve's younger brother.
His younger brother? Oh, your sister got married to the older brother, Steve, and you were dating the younger brother, Stuart.
Yep, that's right. Stuart has been in line to inherit the leadership of Straver from his father ever since he started going to college. So he was going through a sort of business apprenticeship with his father while going to school.
Wait, but Stuart is the younger son. Why would he be the one to inherit the business? What about Steve? He's the older son.
Well, their dad had a long talk with the both of them about what their goals were for the future, and in the end, Steve decided that he would rather forge his own path in life, so it was decided to pass the company on to Stuart. And by the way, Mandy swooped back into town like a vulture when she heard the news that I was engaged to the next CEO of Straver Industries. But it seems that, just like you, she also operated under the assumption that the firstborn son would be the one who got the company. Since she thought I was engaged to Steve, Mandy started in on a massive effort to steal him away from me and secure her business as the wife of a wealthy businessman.
I see.
She managed to win his heart, and they even got married in short order. But just when she thought that she had succeeded in pushing me to the side, she had the horrifying revelation that it was Stuart and not Steve who would be taking over the company. It came as a massive shock to her.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That wasn't the end, though. After they got divorced, Mandy realized that she had actually fallen in love with him, even if he wasn't the wealthy businessman she thought he was. She even threw herself at his feet and begged him to take her back. But, well, she was just too late.
Oh, I guess that explains why she was crying like that.
Well, that's the end of the story. Did you get all that? Don't worry about Mandy. Aunt Gracie said she's going to look after her for the time being. You can leave her to us.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for that.
It's strange to hear from you so soon, though, Dad. Didn't you just disown me as your daughter a few days ago?
Oh, I guess I did. Hey!
What do you want now?
It's about my subcontractor, Arthravale Manufacturing.
Okay, what about them?
Their president is the younger brother of the chairman of the board of Straver Industries?
Yeah?
Yeah, well, why didn't you tell me about that?
Good grief, Dad, you really didn't know? Straver's chairman's brother founded Arthrovale after retiring from Straver with the explicit purpose of training up new talent to support the industry's future. It was all in the papers. It's intentionally kept as a small-scale operation due to its purpose as a training company. So they typically only do small order subcontracting orders. It's their bread and butter. Seriously, I thought this was common knowledge for the local business community.
I had no idea.
Oh, for the love of... So you really didn't know then?
Oh no, what am I gonna do now?
Okay, I'll bite. What's the matter, Dad?
I've got to figure out some way to make it up to Arthrovale's president.
I think I know what's going on, but go ahead and spell it out for me.
I've been getting call after call from clients the last few days saying they're cutting off our business relationships. I was completely floored when one of our biggest clients said that, and when I asked them why, they said that they had heard about my behavior at Steve's funeral the other day, and they didn't want to be associated with someone who made such inflammatory remarks anymore, so they're cutting ties.
Yeah, that's what I thought you'd say.
But it doesn't make any sense. What did I say that was inflammatory?
You still don't get it? Arthrovale is a small-scale operation, but the technicians who train there go on to take on important roles at multiple manufacturers all over the region. There are even some alumni who have gone on to launch massively successful companies of their own. Wherever they end up, though, the common thread between everyone who works at Arthrovale is that they are fiercely, passionately loyal to the company. Which brings us to the question of what was so inflammatory? At the funeral for a young man who died at 25 years old, you shouted at an Arthrovale representative as if you were some kind of medieval noble lording over the local serfs. You ticked off a lot of people that day. And given how loyal Arthrovale alumni are, it's only reasonable that the ones in position to do so would make moves against you and your company.
Oh no. I had no idea what sort of place Arthrovale was. If I had known, I never would have said those things about them.
You shouldn't have said those things regardless of who you were saying them about. Have you no common sense?
Of course I do.
No, Dad, the way you're responding to this is basically proof positive that you do not. If you did, you wouldn't have put yourself in this position in the first place.
Come on, Molly, you've got to do something about this.
Huh? Why should I?
Isn't it obvious you're married to one of the most influential business families in the state? That makes me the father-in-law of the next CEO of Straver Industries. I'm in a way stronger position than the president of Arthrovale. If I use my relationship with you as leverage, I can get that old geezer to do anything I want. You can save my company.
I hate to tell you, Dad, but I doubt that would work even if I tried.
Why, though?
Because it's not just my husband. The entire corporate philosophy of Straver is uniting with firms both big and small within the industry to form a mutual support network. In short, they hate businessmen like you.
No.
You really have no ground to be complaining to me in the first place.
Please, Molly, can't you do something? It doesn't have to be out in public. Can't you just kind of give them a subtle threat behind closed doors?
No, I'm not a jerk, but seriously though, did you forget again that you disowned me?
That's not important right now.
It kind of is, but even if you were still my father, I would never do such a dirty, underhanded thing for you. Goodbye for real this time.
Molly, wait! Molly, you've got to lend me some money. Your husband's family has more money than most countries. You should be able to get me what I need with zero trouble. I've lost over 90% of my clients. I can't go on like this. It's going to drive me into bankruptcy. You can't let that happen to me. I don't need that much, just a couple $1 million to hold my company over until we can secure some new clients. Molly!
The only reason I didn't block his number after he disowned me as his daughter was because my father-in-law, the current CEO of Straver Industries, personally requested that I did not do so. As I mentioned before, my father-in-law and my dad never had any direct business connections, but seeing as though both me and my sister married into the same family, they've met each other on a few occasions. He came to me and said that he wanted to see whether or not my dad was someone who was worthy of his help, as the father of his daughter-in-law. If my dad showed any sort of remorse for what he'd done, he would have been more than willing to help bring his company back from the brink of destruction. But alas, as you can see, my dad is incapable of remorse. We had a family conference, and after seeing my dad's last few texts, the decision was unanimous. Let him take care of himself. My dad's company went bankrupt a few weeks later. He was up to his eyeballs in debt, and with that personality of his, he didn't have any friends left who would be willing to save him. While Rusty, he did still have some skills left from his days as a regular employee in a local factory. So he had no choice but to use those skills to start over from the bottom while desperately trying to pay back his debts.